In tonight's video, we talk about stubborn fat loss for females.
Today's video.
I keep touching the table. What's going on, guys? This is Paul from ProPhysique.com. It's really good to see you guys.
So it's dark, and so we have this light on, but now it just feels kind of like funny because we're like in the dark.
It does feel strange
because really goofy.
To make it good lighting, we have really professional light shining at us, but I have no lights on in the office, so it's really weird.
It's kind of late at night. We always film earlier, so now we're kind of like delusional, laughy tired. But
yeah, we went and ate and trained, and I never got around to doing a video today.
So we wanted to make one impromptu before I leave.
Yeah, Lauren's always leaving. And she hasn't been doing enough videos, so I'm making her do more.
I promise. I was planning on doing one this week, and then my tonsil thing, so I haven't done it, but I think I'm going to do one this weekend.
All right, everybody comment below. Make more videos.
I'm like the worst every time you say that, but yeah, I've been doing all right.
Yes, you've been doing better. And we're excited because the Arnold. Yeah.
1 week. Yay.
So next Thursday we fly out.
Yeah.
And we're going to have an awesome week at the Arnold.
Wait. Where are you going to be?
Core Nutritionals. Booth. And then I also I have a client doing amateur bikini.
Yes.
I have a client doing powerlifting.
Yes.
And so I'll be making my rounds. And I'm bringing Chad Nutter with me, so I'm going to have a videographer for the whole weekend.
That'll be awesome.
That'll be exciting. And then you're going to be at Blackstone Labs.
Yes, I'll be at Blackstone and Slingshot.
Slingshot?
So I'll be at Blackstone Friday morning, Saturday afternoon, and then Sunday morning. And then anytime I'm not there, I'll be at Slingshot. So really cool crews, really cool products for both companies. I love supporting them and working for them. So really, really excited. We'll be training on Thursday. One of Ryan's friends has a gym, so we'll probably go there. And yeah, all around, love the weekend. It's like my favorite weekend probably of fitnessy stuff.
There's so much to do. It's literally like hard to get sleep because you want to get up early and then you want to stay up late.
Well, I have to get up early to look presentable.
Everything in between. I don't have to worry about getting up early for that.
You are very lucky. But catch me if you're going to come see us. Catch me earlier.
Catch her outside, yo.
But really by Sunday I will not have a voice. It just happens every year. Raspy. I get really
She smokes a lot of cigarettes.
No, I sound like it. But no, last year I was like, like I could not talk at all. It was so
quick reminder. Not a reminder because I didn't tell you yet. Quick notification. Tomorrow at noon, I am going to try my first ever Facebook Live. That's noon Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to do my first ever Facebook Live. Okay. You did one today. I really enjoyed watching it. You were answering questions. So I'm going to be on there answering questions.
Every week.
So probably from 12 to I'll plan for 12:30, but if it's going really well, maybe I'll stick it out till 12:45. I do have a client coming over to pose at 1. Yeah. And I don't want to get too close. So maybe 30, 45 minutes.
Usually that's the perfect time. I do one once a week. If you guys tuned in for the Blackstone, it's on the Blackstone page. We're doing a transformation contest. So PJ wanted me to be a part of it this year. So basically I do once a week Facebook Live. Typically they're about 40, 45 minutes. Yeah. And I just kind of answer any kind of questions you guys have. It's not just for people in the contest. I don't want people to think that's for everyone. So there's another 6 weeks coming up. So I usually do them on Wednesdays. So be sure to tune in if you want to ask me anything.
Yeah, I think they're fun. It's a good little way to get involved. These videos are nice, but it's not really
yeah, that's just really
it's
it's live.
Yeah, so I do love to answer questions in the comments below, as you guys know. And so let's get to the topic at hand, which today is going to be fat loss, in particular, stubborn fat loss, in particular for females. Yep. So, last time you and I did a video on a specific topic like this, I thought it went very well. It was how to get shredded for women. So this is kind of similar to that. I did a, what to expect for how to get, So, but this, we want to talk about what we do for ourselves and for our clients to get shredded, to get stubborn body fat off. Basically, this question was proposed. I've reached a place where I only have body fat and a few places remaining. What do I have to do to get there? Yeah. And it was implied that what are the cardio tricks? What are the diet tricks? And so I'm gonna throw this to Laurin. when Laurin gets to a sticking point and, it's time to get to the stage and you're not where you need to be, what are your stubborn fat loss solutions?
Yeah. So basically, the number one thing is to diet for longer. I'm sure that's exactly mimicking what you said. And while it is not the answer everyone wants to hear, typically doing what you've been doing for longer is what you need to do. As a female, most of us hold body fat in kind of the hamstring tie-in area, in the hips, glutes, that whole kind of just bottom heavy look. I mean, everyone's a little bit different. Definitely I would say that area, more like triceps too, versus like guys is more like lower back and, things like that. But definitely going to be the more bottom look. That tie-in is usually the last place to come in for most females. Particularly, just because it's like estrogen based, that's obviously like the estrogen site. So that's where you're going to hold more of your body fat. So as far as stubborn body fat goes, the best things in my opinion to do are just diet for longer, do a little bit more cardio. As far as like tips and tricks up my sleeve, I don't have too many. You want to make sure that, of course, things like cortisol are in check, estrogen is not like crazy. There's certain kind of natural things that you can do as far as supplementation. I do know a lot of people will take like the DIM supplement. There's different things with cortisol. Like ashwagandha is great. I've like recently really got into this, so I'll definitely be supplementing that during prep also. Yeah. And there's, different things too. If you want to take something along the lines of, estrogen control, there's a lot of options in that area. I'll leave that open for what you guys think it is. So there's plenty of things that a lot of people take. But really the biggest thing is just dieting for longer. Honestly, dieting and doing more cardio. What you don't want to do is get to a place where you are starting prep and you're doing like a ton at once and then you kind of get to the end and you have nothing. What I like to do is do a little bit more of moderate in the beginning and then kind of throw the hit in as things progress, because then at that point everything's kind of hard, so like you don't really have to worry. I really try to protect training intensity for a while. So doing moderate on top of training hard kind of seems to do well, and then at the end when everything sucks, you kind of throw in the hit, you kind of throw in the hard training, but everything's just kind of hard. But you really want to make sure that intensity is there with training and with cardio. That's like the number one way really to kind of lose fat, preserve muscle, and then honestly making sure that you actually have enough muscle in the off season going into your diet. A lot of people want to get shredded and they want to, look a certain way, and then when they lean out, they're like, oh, I lost some of my muscle, but in reality you probably just didn't have all that muscle you thought you did. Because when we are off season and we do have body fat on us, it still looks shapely, but the reality is when you take the fat away, you probably aren't really as jacked as you think you are. So really it's going to be several months, years, whatever the cycles are, of really kind of building up. Because how many times do we know when a girl diets and in order to get their legs in, their arms look like string beans? That happens to a lot of people, and that's just because of how the body fat's distributed on females. So making sure that you do have enough muscle in the off season and you are training hard enough in the off season that you can, actually
what is your opinion? What is your opinion? Because this is something I've been doing more thinking about now that I'm considering competing again in 2018. But the idea that, because this is something I've experienced, that each time you diet, your body responds better. I find I get to my same previous all-time leanness a little easier. I retain muscle a little bit better, and I'm able to get through to a new, every time I diet down, a little bit better. So if we're talking about stubborn body fat over a lifetime of competing, like your first round of shows, second round of shows, third round, have you found that to be true?
No, and that's because I'm a girl and that's just how we compete. It has nothing to do with physiology. It has everything to do with frequency of competing, frequency of dieting. Also, as you're more of like, I would say more of an ectomorphish kind of, you're naturally a lot leaner. So people who are naturally leaner are going to have an easier time, not saying it's easy to diet, but getting to that certain low body fat level, right? For you, you don't just like blow up after a stage, unless you really force feed yourself. There's people who I know like overeat a few times and then they've gained a ton of weight. So a lot of that is genetics, I think, and then a lot of that is previous dieting history. Typically, most females have a longer dieting history than males do, just even before they start competing. And then on top of it, if you are doing something maybe like a bikini or a figure division, it's a lot different. Did you hear what Paul said? He hasn't competed since 2016, and he's already talking about 2018. So really big difference. Most girls, I don't know. I mean, that's extremely hard for me to do. That's extremely hard for most females to do, because figure and bikini
Yeah,
are a little bit more,
in
little
November,
bit.
and you're already starting to plan for your next round of shows.
Yes,
Yeah.
which is, again, different because of the division I'm in. I don't need to make as many changes for bikini as I would for male bodybuilding.
And that's interesting because that's not the answer I was expecting from Laurin, but that's very real because, like I said, I competed in 2009, not again until 2012, not again until 2016.
Yeah.
So I take these longer breaks, so I'm probably actually altering my physiology at a greater percent than someone who is doing a show every 6 months or a year.
Me and my client actually talked about this. Shout out to Stephanie if you're watching.
Thanks, Steph.
About, just different body fat levels and kind of resetting your settling point.
Sure.
And I was kind of telling her, well, one, there's not really much research on this, but the people who have done a good job at this are people who have done so for a year or 2 years at a time, and they're not thinking about getting stage lean.
Right.
They're just kind of, gradually dieting. Alberto Nunez is a great example of this.
Yeah.
He's probably like the best example just because he's somebody who gets super, super, super shredded, if anyone knows Alberto. And he also used to be kind of chunky, but then he spent lots of time dieting, but also doing things the right way, taking time off. I mean, he takes several years in between shows. And again, I'm not suggesting that everyone needs to take years between shows because if you're doing bikini or something, I mean, you don't need to do that.
We did a video on that.
Yeah.
We did a video on this topic. Like if you're interested in it, you can go back and look at it.
But as far as the stubborn body fat getting easier each show, I think it really just depends on how you handle the post-show period and how frequently you diet. Because no matter how good you handle stuff, as far as like your diet and being meticulous and whatever, at some point, if you're always dieting, you're always being in that kind of harsh body fat level, it's going to be still challenging.
Sure.
So think about your body from an evolutionary standpoint. It is going to be fighting you to get to that stage lean level. And the more you try to do it, the harder it is on your body, I feel. So
that's interesting because she competes a lot more frequently than I do. And so my outlook is different, and I'm glad you had that different outlook because that wasn't going to be my answer. But I have the same experience with female clients. Yeah. It's hard to get them to not be dieting or prepping, which is why I did a video last week on the perpetual diet cycle that we tend to get into. But
it sucks.
Laurin it's even hard for you to do that 5 or 6 months between preps.
Because you want to compete, and you are... I do know, in a very realistic standpoint, that it is semi-attainable, right? It's not male bodybuilding. It is bikini, right? I mean, I'm definitely not the most jacked and the most lean girl on stage, but, I do bring what I like as a package. So when you see that, you're like, oh, well, of course I could do that, you know what I mean? But for me, that isn't attainable. That isn't all the time how I walk around. This is how I walk around. You guys see me. And it is definitely far above stage weight just because that's like where my body's comfortable at. But yeah, it's hard because you want to compete. I enjoy competing. So that makes it challenging, you know what I mean? And every year stuff's changing. So I always kind of want to be a part of it as it's changing. So bikini is super, super dynamic.
Well, and it's a little different when you reach the pro level because she's already at the pro level. And
I'm here. And
the thing about the IFBB, I mean, there's so many new pros every year. I think,
you want to stay relevant.
You're always interested in staying a step ahead, and it's no judgment. It's just the way it is for female competitors.
It's simply the way it is.
And I don't think for you to compete as a better physique each year, it doesn't require you to spend years in between shows.
Exactly. That's kind of what I'm saying.
It takes me years to see a little bit of a difference. Yeah. And that's just...
I mean, that's just the reality, again, of the divisions. And you have to look at what division you're doing. You have to kind of step back and say, like, okay, is this me? Are they talking to me? A male bodybuilder is very different than a female bikini competitor. So just things to consider, things to think about.
So without getting too specific, stubborn fat loss for females, it's the same thing. It's giving yourself enough time to get ready. Putting yourself in the best metabolic position in the competition in the off season, and then using all the tricks, saving cardio, saving things like fat burners, saving things like core hard, which is like a cortisol blocker, saving those kind of things for the period of prep that they're going to have the biggest impact, and not doing a 12-week prep and starting all at the beginning and doing 3 hours of cardio a day.
Yes, that's what you want to
allow your body to adapt to
it's going to adapt.
each phase.
It's going to adapt. So why throw everything at it once? Kind of gradually add things in and make sure that, like I talked about at some point, everything's going to be hard. So you might as well just kind of suck it up and deal with it. But try to...
deal with it.
Yeah, just deal with it. No, but try and maintain, the highest amount of intensity you can for as long as you can. And people really, and I'm guilty of this too, you'll underestimate how good of a training stimulus it is for how good of a stimulus training is for your body metabolically.
Yes.
And we'll just be like, oh, gotta diet, I gotta do more cardio, more cardio. And you really kind of forget that, like, if you train really hard for like 2 fucking hours, like, that's really hard on your body.
Yeah, that's good.
You know what I mean? Like, So
That's very true. All right, guys. Well, hopefully, a little bit of insight. Stubborn fat loss for females. We're just
Time.
going to make sure we give ourselves enough time and that we're starting prep in a good
place.
situation.
Yeah.
Especially if you have a long history of dieting or competing, you need to make sure you're in a good place.
Yes.
All right, guys. So thanks to Laurin for rocking out. Tomorrow we're going to go hit up the brand new Powerhouse
Yes.
in Tampa that's
Love new
doing a
gyms.
grand opening. So we're going to go check it out and train. And if you're in Tampa, come see us. Probably around 2:30, something like
Yeah,
that.
whenever we go. Sometime in the afternoon.
You guys have a good Friday night.
Yes.
Talk to you
This is what we do on Friday nights.
tomorrow. Crazy parties. YouTube videos.
Hey, what's up in YouTube?
All right, hold on.